So welcome back. In today's video, we are going to deal with exceptions. What are some of the exceptions that we have in Java or in programming? So in Java, we have what we call the runtime. By exceptions, I'm meaning errors, and errors are divided into types. We have what we call the runtime. Have what we call the runtime errors. These are the errors that you get after running your code. Those are called the runtime errors. We have what we call the compile errors. Now these are the errors that you get when your code is compiled. Let me say you are trying to divide 10 divided by 0, which is not possible. We will get what we call the compile errors. Then we have what we call the logical errors. Logical errors. Now these errors, the logical errors, simply happen. Let me say you are trying to add 2 plus 2. I can give you an example. Int j is equal to 2. And int I is equal to 4. So you're trying to system.out, you're trying to add j plus I and let me try to compile this. Java main Java. Try to compile and run. Here in this case you are getting 6, but what if you get let me say you are trying to add, and in some instances you get like 10, meaning or you are trying to do some calculation and somehow you are getting you're getting another answer that is not right from what you expected. So those are what we call the logical errors in Java. So today we are going to see how you can deal with such. Today we are going to look we are going to dive more deeper on how to handle such errors, both on runtime and compile errors. But specifically today we are going to look at compile errors, how compile errors affect our code. So what if I have a number? Let me say j is equal to let me say j is equal to 10, and I'm having int I is equal to 0. So and I'm trying to, let me say I'm trying to divide. So I will say int result is equal to j divided by I. So what do you expect here? Can you divide 10? Can 10 be divided by 0? Let me see. Let me try to compile this. Compile R. Come here. Run and compile. You will see that we are getting an exception. So remember what I have discussed earlier. Exceptions simply are errors. Errors divided into three parts. We have the compile errors, the runtime errors, and the logical errors. Now here we are getting a compile error, that exception in a three-domain lang arithmetic. We are trying to do an arithmetic operation and we are trying to divide by 0, which is not allowed by Java. You cannot divide 10 by 0. So we are getting an error. So what if I come down here? Let me say I was doing more work, then I didn't manage to see this, and I continue with my work. Let me say I created another variable, and this was 100. Then I try to system.out num2. So let me try to compile this num2 and I see if it will be printed. Remember, num2 is not part of this arithmetic operation app. It's different down. Let me try to compile this and run. You will see that my num2 cannot be executed. So let me try to change this 0 to 2, which is okay. 2 can divide 10, and I try to compile again. You see that I'm getting both a 5 and my 100, meaning this, when I put the 0 back, this exception won't accept my code to my down code. My logic below this won't be executed. My logic below this my logic below this won't be executed because of this exception. So in Java, like in other programming languages, in JavaScript, we have what we call in some of the programming languages like JavaScript, we have what we call the try catch, and in C and other programming languages, we have what we call the try catches, whereby you can catch this error, you can catch this error and throw the error back. In this case, we are not able to catch this error simply because we are not catching it. So what we can do is that we can put this code, this line of code, we can put this line of code here. We can put these two brackets in this case. After putting these two, I can put this inside. So after doing that, and I try to compile here, look at the screen, and I try to compile, you see that I'm still getting the exception. But what if I try to tell this code that you try, I use the try keyword, you try to execute this line, try to execute this line, try to execute this line, and if something happens, help me and catch, have what we call the catch. Now inside the catch, we have what we call the exception, which is a data type, which is a class, exception, which is a class. When you go inside the exception here, you see that the exception is a class, which is going to act like our class for catching the errors. So I will say exception. Here you can use a keyword called error, which is used most of the time, and here you open your brackets. So you say system.out, something went wrong, meaning if something goes wrong in this case, what Java does, what this try catch will do, this is called a try catch. What Java will do is that this try will try to compile these two lines of code, but if something goes wrong between these two lines of code, it will print out this system, or it will throw an error. So this is the way of throwing an error, or catching an error. After Java throwing an error, we are able to catch the error back. So this error comes back as an object. Yeah, after Java throwing the error, we are able, in this case, after Java throwing, you can print out the error in this case, which is an object. So after Java throwing the error, if something goes wrong in this first try, it's like you try doing something, but if something wrong happens, you try to throw an error. So this catch throws an error, and we are able to catch it at this side. So this automatically, after doing this try catch will help us execute other lines of code without hindering our executions. So when I try to compile this, compile and run, you will see that I'm catching my error up here, but I'm also printing out my 100, meaning this didn't stop this from running. Hopefully I'm clear there. This up here didn't stop these two lines from running. But what does this mean? The moment you have an issue, Java will try to compile this, but if something goes wrong in the statements above, Java will try to throw an error, and we are able to catch the error back through this try catch block of code. So if this is okay, still Java will say, hey, you have tried to do some mathematic operation here, which was okay and was rightly executed. So you can continue to do something like that. So you see that I'm able to get the 5 and the 100. This exception here, or this try catch, will only be executed if something goes wrong in the first try. So this is called the first try. If something goes wrong in the first try, Java will throw the error back. So this error comes back as an object. Keep note, and this is the class. The exception is a class which we give. So these exceptions are like, let me say you're having int and a variable. This is like our data type that we're having right now. So these exceptions also, or these classes, are also divided into parts. or in two segments. We have the arithmetic exceptions, whereby these ones specifically deal with arithmetic errors. So if you're having this back, if you're having like this is an arithmetic error, if you're having this error, you can use the arithmetic exception. But for me, I prefer using the exception itself without using arithmetic, because this is general. Yeah, when you use the main one, which is the exception, it is general, but you can see even the arithmetic one is trying to it will throw the same error. So I would prefer using the exception itself. So that's what we call, or that's the importances of using the try catch. And you see me using more of try catches in my block of code, and most of the programmers prefer using the try catch, simply because you are able to know which part was not right, or which part threw an error in your code. So that's it for today. Thank you.